The Sterling Industries annual gala was always an exercise in corporate hierarchy, but this year they'd outdone themselves. I stood in the grand entrance of the Ritz-Carlton ballroom, holding my deliberately understated clutch bag, watching my sister Victoria direct the seating arrangements with calculated precision. "Oh, Sophia," she called out, her voice carrying that familiar note of condescension. "The service staff table is over there near the kitchen entrance." She gestured dismissively toward a dimly lit corner, far from the crystal chandeliers and champagne fountains. I smoothed down my simple black dress, a custom Chanel that probably cost more than Victoria's monthly salary, though she'd never recognize that. The invitation in my hand clearly read Sophia Harrison, special guest. But Victoria had never been one to let facts interfere with her perception of reality. "Still working in building maintenance, right?" She adjusted her gaudy designer dress, the price tag surely still attached to justify its return tomorrow. "How admirable that you keep at it. Very persistent." If only she knew that I didn't just maintain the building, I owned it. Sterling Tower, the gleaming 60-story headquarters that housed their precious corporation, belonged to me through a complex web of holding companies and investment firms. But tonight wasn't about revealing that particular truth. Not yet. "Actually," I started, but Victoria had already turned away, fawning over the arrival of James Sterling III, the CEO's son and her not-so-secret crush. "James, your table is right next to mine near father's. Our father, Richard Harrison, had married into the Sterling family 15 years ago, when Victoria was still Daddy's precious princess and I was just the quiet daughter who lacked ambition. Now he was Sterling Industries CFO, a position he never failed to lord over me during our increasingly rare family gatherings. "Sophia." His voice cut through the crowd. "I didn't expect to see you here." The disapproval in his tone was thick enough to slice. "Shouldn't you be working?" I thought about the documents sitting in my private office on the top floor of Sterling Tower, the ones that would be revealed in exactly 43 minutes. "I took the night off," I said mildly. "Thought I should be here for the big announcement." He frowned. "Announcement? The merger details aren't public yet." "How did you?" "Daddy," Victoria interrupted. "I've seated Sophia with the maintenance staff so she won't embarrass us during the CEO's speech." She lowered her voice, though not enough. "You know how she gets when she drinks." I suppressed a smile, remembering the real reason I'd stopped attending family functions. It wasn't alcohol that made me uncomfortable. It was watching them parade their borrowed success, flaunting positions and privileges they'd never actually earned. Making my way to the assigned table, I nodded to Manuel, our head of building maintenance. Unlike my family, he knew exactly who I was. "Good evening, Miss Harrison," he said quietly, respect evident in his tone. "Everything is prepared as you requested." "Thank you, Manuel." I sat down, accepting a glass of champagne that cost more than Victoria probably realized. "How's your daughter's college fund coming along?" He smiled. "The scholarship your foundation provided is changing her life. She's top of her class at MIT." Before I could respond, James Sterling III clinked his glass, calling for attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, before my father makes his announcement about the merger, we have a special guest to acknowledge." Victoria preened, obviously expecting to be named in the merger deal she'd been orchestrating. The one that would supposedly cement her position in the Sterling family hierarchy. "Tonight," James continued, "we finally meet the mysterious owner of Sterling Tower, the person who's been our silent landlord for the past 5 years." The room quieted. Even Victoria stopped fidgeting with her jewelry. "Please welcome," James raised his glass, his eyes scanning the crowd before landing directly on me, "the owner of not just this building but the entire Sterling Properties Group." I stood up slowly, enjoying the way Victoria's champagne glass slipped from her perfectly manicured fingers. Sometimes the best revenge isn't making a grand entrance. It's letting them realize you were there all along, watching their every move. But this was just the beginning. In exactly 42 minutes, they'd learn that I owned much more than just their building. The merger Victoria had worked so hard to arrange, that was about to take a very interesting turn. I smoothed my dress one more time and prepared to step into the spotlight. After 15 years of being underestimated, it was finally time to show my family exactly what their unambitious daughter had built while they weren't paying attention. The silence in the ballroom was absolute as I made my way to the stage, each click of my heels echoing against the marble floor. Victoria's face had lost all color, and our father's expression had frozen somewhere between shock and dawning horror. The silence in the ballroom shattered as James Sterling III continued his introduction. Ms. Sophia Harrison, CEO of Harrison Global Properties and majority stakeholder in Sterling Properties Group. I took the stage with measured steps, feeling the weight of hundreds of stunned gazes. Victoria had collapsed into her chair, her perfectly arranged seating chart forgotten as our father gripped the edge of his table, knuckles white. "Thank you, James," I said, my voice carrying clearly through the now silent room. "Though I should correct one detail, Harrison Global Properties doesn't just own Sterling Tower. As of this morning, we own the entire Sterling Industries property portfolio across 3 continents." The murmurs that rippled through the crowd were exactly what I'd anticipated. I caught snippets of whispered conversations. "The maintenance worker? Richard's other daughter? But she's just a..." For those wondering, I continued, enjoying the way my father's face grew increasingly pale. "Yes, I started in building maintenance. It was the perfect way to learn every aspect of property management from the ground up. While others were busy climbing corporate ladders, I was building my own empire." Victoria suddenly found her voice. "This is impossible," she shrieked, standing up so quickly her chair toppled backward. "Daddy, tell them this is some kind of joke." I pulled a folder from my clutch, the same bag Victoria had sneered at earlier. "Actually, sister dear, this might interest you. The merger you've been working so hard to arrange? The one that was supposed to be announced tonight." Our father's eyes widened. "Sophia, don't. The mysterious company you've been negotiating with through all those layers of shell corporations? That was mine too." I opened the folder, letting the projector display its contents on the massive screen behind me. Harrison Global Properties now owns controlling interest in not just Sterling Properties, but Sterling Industries itself. The room erupted in chaos. Board members frantically checked their phones, confirming what I'd just revealed. James Sterling III stood frozen, his champagne glass halfway to his lips. And Victoria, my perfect, privileged sister, looked like she might faint. "This is corporate theft," our father finally exploded, his CFO persona cracking. "You can't just..." "Can't what, father? Build something of my own? Create success without the Sterling name? Check the documents yourself. Every acquisition was legal, every share purchased at market value. While you were busy dismissing me as your maintenance worker daughter, I was learning, watching, planning." I clicked to the next slide, displaying Harrison Global's complete portfolio. 15 years ago you told me I lacked the ambition to succeed in real estate. That I needed to marry well, like Victoria, and let the men handle the business decisions. So I decided to show you exactly what your unambitious daughter could accomplish. Manuel and the maintenance staff, my most loyal employees, were grinning openly now. They'd been part of my journey from the beginning, helping me understand every aspect of building operations while my family was busy attending galas and chasing status. "The merger will proceed," I announced, "but with some changes. Sterling Industries will be restructured under Harrison Global's management. Current leadership will be reviewed." Victoria stumbled forward, her designer dress now wrinkled and wine-stained. "You can't do this to us. We're family." "Family?" I raised an eyebrow. "Like when you told the board I was mentally unstable when I tried to apply for a junior position. Or when father here blocked my attempt to lease office space because it would embarrass the Sterling name to have his daughter as a small-time tenant." I turned to address the crowd directly. "Harrison Global Properties believes in merit, not nepotism. Every employee from maintenance to management earns their position through hard work and dedication. Starting tomorrow, Sterling Industries will operate under the same principle." My phone buzzed, right on schedule. Perfect timing. The SEC filing just went public. I believe your phones are probably exploding with notifications right now. The room filled with the sound of alerts and message tones as the news broke across financial networks. I watched my father frantically typing on his phone, probably trying to access the accounts I'd already frozen pending audit. "Don't worry," I said, my voice carrying just enough edge to make them flinch. "Everyone will have a chance to prove their actual value to the company. Even you, Victoria. Though you might want to start by learning where the real power lies in real estate." I gestured to Manuel and his team. These people you so casually dismissed? They know more about property management and building operations than most of your executive team. That's why they're all being promoted to regional directors in the new organization. The look of shock on Victoria's face as Manuel and his crew stood up, revealing their expertly tailored suits beneath their maintenance uniforms, was worth every second of the past 15 years. The third week after my revelation transformed Sterling Industries' annual gala into a masterclass in karmic justice. I sat in my private office at the top of what was now officially Sterling Tower, formerly Morgan Sterling Building, watching the city's elite arrive in their finery, unaware of the shock awaiting them. Miss Sterling, my assistant James appeared with the evening brief. Your sister Victoria has been particularly vocal at the pre-gala reception. Would you like to see the security feed? I nodded, and the main screen filled with Victoria's familiar performative grandstanding. Her designer gown probably cost more than what she thought I made in a year, her diamond necklace catching the light as she held court among her usual sycophants. Of course, some of us actually earned our positions, she was saying loudly enough to carry. Unlike others who just exist on the margins. My phone buzzed silently, a message from my CFO. Stock transfer complete. Building ownership officially recorded. Press release ready for the announcement. I smiled, thinking about the carefully orchestrated evening ahead. 4 years, they'd seated me at the auxiliary staff table at these galas, assuming my modest appearance meant I belonged with the maintenance crew. Tonight everything would change. The seating arrangements? I asked James. Exactly as requested, he confirmed with a slight smirk. You're at table 23, with the maintenance and custodial staff. Your sister made quite a show of suggesting it personally. I checked my reflection in the window. The deliberately plain black dress, the minimal jewelry, the understated makeup. Everything chosen to maintain the illusion for just a few hours more. And the other arrangements? All in place. The new signage is ready to be unveiled. The ownership announcement is scheduled for 9 p.m. And... He paused, enjoying the moment. We've arranged for extra staff to clean up any dropped champagne glasses. My phone lit up with messages from various board members. From Sophia Harrison, strange activity in the building's ownership records. Need to discuss urgently. From Victoria, hope you enjoy dining with your peers tonight. Those maintenance people seem more your speed. From Mother, darling, couldn't you at least try to dress appropriately for once? I archived them all except one from old Mr. Chin, the building's head of maintenance. Looking forward to sharing our table with the real owner tonight. These people never look up to see who's really above them. The security feeds showed the gala in full swing. Victoria holding court near the main stage, Mother critiquing everyone's attire, the board members congratulating themselves on another year of success they hadn't earned. Time to head down, James announced. Victoria just made quite a show of pointing out the helps table to some new executives. I took the private elevator. My elevator now, down to the grand ballroom. The space glittered with expensive decorations and even more expensive egos. Victoria spotted me immediately, her smile turning predatory. Oh, Sarah, she called out loudly enough to draw attention. The cleaner's table is that way. Though you really should have used the service entrance. I smiled serenely, heading toward table 23 where Mr. Chin and his team sat. They greeted me warmly, having known for months who really owned their paychecks. Speech time soon, Mr. Chin whispered with a wink. Better fix your crown, boss. Sophia Harrison took the stage, adjusting his tie nervously. He'd found out about the ownership transfer just hours ago but had been sworn to secrecy by my lawyers. Distinguished guests, he began, his voice shaking slightly. We have an unprecedented announcement tonight. As you know, this building has long been the Morgan Sterling building, but as of today, the massive curtain covering the wall fell away, revealing the new signage, Sterling Tower. Please welcome, Harrison continued as gasps filled the room, the majority owner of Sterling Industries in this building, Miss Sarah Sterling. The sound of shattering glass echoed as Victoria's champagne flute hit the floor. Mother's face went pale as I stood up from the cleaner's table. But that's impossible, Victoria sputtered. You're nothing. You work as the owner of this building and company, I finished for her, walking toward the stage. Amazing what you can accomplish while people are busy underestimating you. The ballroom had fallen silent, hundreds of faces turned toward me in shock. I took my place at the podium, finally letting the mask of mediocrity fall away. "Good evening," I said into the microphone. "I believe there's been some confusion about seating arrangements. Though I must say table 23 has the most authentic people in this room." The maintenance staff stood up, applauding. They'd known all along, watching the drama unfold from the best seats in the house. "For those wondering how this happened," I continued, "perhaps you should have paid more attention to who was actually buying company shares while you were busy planning seating charts." Victoria's mascara was running as she gripped Mother's arm. But your clothes, your job, were a choice," I smiled. "It's amazing how invisible you can become when people choose to see only what they expect. While you were spending millions looking rich, I was spending billions becoming rich." My phone buzzed, messages flooding in from family members suddenly remembering my existence. I ignored them all except one from Mr. Chin, best seat in the house to watch Karma serve dinner. As for the future of Sterling Industries, I addressed the shocked crowd. There will be changes. Merit will matter more than last names. Innovation will outweigh tradition. And yes, Victoria, the maintenance staff will be getting a significant raise. The room erupted in chaos as the full impact hit them. Board members who'd ignored me at dozens of galas now struggled to catch my eye. Society friends who'd followed Victoria's lead in snubbing me suddenly remembered our deep connection. I raised my hand for silence. One final announcement. The auxiliary staff tables are being abolished. From now on, everyone dines together. Though I must say, I smiled at Mr. Chin and his team, table 23 has the best stories about what really goes on in this building. As I stepped down from the podium, Victoria tried to approach, but security, my security, smoothly intercepted her. "Sarah, please," she called out. "We're sisters." "Yes," I agreed, walking past her. "We are. And sisters should look out for each other. Remember that next time you're deciding who belongs at which table." I joined my friends at table 23, accepting a glass of champagne from Mr. Chin. Around us, the city's elites struggled to process their new reality. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success that forces others to recognize their own prejudices. The real future of Sterling Industries was just beginning. And somewhere in the ballroom, a family was learning that sometimes the biggest power doesn't come from those at the head table, but from the one they banish to the back. Welcome to the new Sterling Tower. Table assignments no longer required.